And welcome back, everybody, to Chronicles of Power, a podcast dedicated to the world of power, where I review and break down the latest episode in the Powerverse. We are brought to you by Private Listed, your source for all things music, sports, culture, and entertainment. Now, you can follow us at Chronicles of Power on Instagram. You can also find us on YouTube at PVTLSTD. And if you can do me a favor and hit that subscribe button, put your notifications on so you can know when new episodes like this drop. We talk about all things power. We have interviews. We got special guests. We talk about themes, everything happening within the power universe, in addition to some other things too, right? Now, if you're not watching this on YouTube or listening to it on YouTube, we're also available wherever you can find podcasts. So if you can please subscribe there and give us a follow on Apple and Spotify. And one more thing. I know it kind of sounds like I'm begging right now, but reviews help people. If you can leave a comment or leave a review about the episode, only good ones though. If it's bad, just send me a DM. Don't leave no bad reviews on my shit because I will curse y'all ass out. Sorry. I will, but
it helps engagement.
But my name is Keemie, and I'll be your guide as we break down the 5th episode of Raising Kanan, titled The Nail That Sticks Up. This episode was written by Sasha Penn and Brian Walker, directed by Sierra Shooter Claude. Is it Claude or is it Claude? Because it has an accent mark at the end. So, but whatever the case is, I know whenever they bring her in, I know exactly what episode we're up to in the season when they're shooting or when they're filming, because she normally does around episode 4 and 5. And she normally works on Force too. And she normally does episodes 4 and 5 on Force too. Today, we have someone who I haven't seen in a very long time. We have the amazing, the funny, the knowledgeable Sam of PowerIsFire in the house with us. Thanks for stopping by and coming to talk with me today, Sam. How have you been?
I've been good. It's good that we back in season, man. It's been so long, and now we already halfway through the damn season, Mike.
I know. And I was thinking about doing like an episode recap of 1 through 5, but so many people have been. I wish you could see what my DMs look like in terms of how people are feeling about the season so far. And every time I get on, I have to say, guys, this is a character-driven show. They will do shoot 'em up, bang bang, right? But
it's been plenty of shoot 'em up, bang bang. It's been a death every episode.
Every episode.
I'm not complaining at all.
But people don't see it that way. They don't like the character development. They don't like the storytelling. They just want guns blazing in the middle of the desert, people heads getting chopped off. And running through ATVs, right?
That's a BMF shot?
Please, don't start. Speaking of BMF, though, let's get into some news. So, I think because we had guests for the last few episodes, or guests from the actual show, we didn't get to talk about BMF too much, and we won't do that today either. But what I will say is, your man 50 is on a tirade against Lil Meech.
The little here, I was in tears. I'm like, oh my gosh, Meech, you just setting yourself up.
Oh, Meechy. So this week at PVTLSTD, we actually posted some footage of Meech looking a little under the weather. He was being rolled in a wheelchair of sorts, and 50 definitely caught that, reposted it, and had a little bit of a caption with it. I won't get into it too much because I'm starting to feel a little sorry for him a little bit because something is clearly up. But then he also, like you just
His money is up. His money.
You mean down? Is that? I don't know. I don't want to speculate in there because
allegedly they get paid when the season airs. So I don't know if this is true or not.
No.
Okay.
I don't.
No, that's what I heard on the back end.
After they finish filming, but he also posted a random picture of Gianni, which lets me know he's like, this guy knows what he's doing in terms of staying in my good graces. And then he also say that again.
Intervention.
So he also posted a picture of him and Da Vinci, and I was like, he's kind of twisting the knife right now, don't you think?
Yeah, I love it.
Okay, lastly, and then after news, we'll start talking about the episode. So, one last thing that I wanted to mention is that we did get a message from Mr. Joseph Sakura, who plays Tommy on Power Book 4 Force, and he was also in the original Power series. He has told us that Force will be coming back this year in the fall. Now, thoughts about that?
I'm excited.
Are
Just
you?
hope. I just hope it's not a situation. Yeah, I love Force. Oh my god, I just recently watched Force season 1 and 2 because me and my girlfriend rewatched like the whole OG Power. We watched half of Ghost because we're gonna watch the next two seasons. But out of all of the shows so far, she actually loves Force the most. I was very surprised.
Time out. 1 second.
No, he absolutely loves Force.
No, that's not my question. Did she not watch Power before meeting you?
No.
And you put her onto it?
Mhm.
My
Like
God, I love this love
you know,
story.
she knows things. Like she know who Tariq is. She know who Ghost and Tasha was. Because I think she said she did watch the first 2 seasons back in like literally because that's when she started college in 2013, 2014. So around that time, but then she just kind of fell off of it and then was like, yeah, I'm over it. So like I said, she knew kind of some people, but she didn't know none of the storyline. She didn't know Ghost died, none of that. I'm like, how you don't that of all things? So all that was like a
Oh
shock.
my gosh, I love this so much.
Yeah.
Put
Look,
on it, come
no,
on
why
it.
she loves Force the most. Like she wasn't like she liked Ghost, but she was just like And I'm trying to get her to watch Raising Kanan. She's like absolutely not. So I don't know. I don't know. She just does not want to watch it. I guess she don't like Kanan that much.
Yeah, because
I don't
Kanan
know.
seems to be the villain in Power, but
We
what
know who the real villain is.
yeah, Ghost is the villain.
Max.
And people make so many excuses for ghosts. Like I can write a whole dissertation of why people make excuses for ghosts is because they uphold patriarchy, they uphold toxicity, they uphold capitalistic ideals, they uphold murder, cycle being
We're gonna root
cyclically.
for we're gonna root for the antagonist. Period. Just like how people eventually rooted for Tariq.
Well, we have like I have some thoughts about why people root for Tariq. But that we'll get into. Hopefully we can do that when we do like a recap of the seasons when we come back. But I think people root for Tariq because they saw the flaws in Ghost that made Tariq act out the way that he did. At least that's one of the reasons why I started to root for him. Because I understood the gripes that he had with his father and the shortcomings that he had in terms of how they explain things to him. And that's what brings me to Kanan now, right? Because Kanan is essentially having the same issues, right? He is having a falling out with his mother because there's no trust there anymore. She has lied, she has manipulated him, and she has made him feel as though she cannot be trusted either. And that's why he's trying to merge out or verge out onto his own. So let's talk about episode 405. Initial thoughts. How are you feeling about 405?
Um, Unique said it best. Until them dinner records show up, he ain't dead.
Oh, God. I didn't even want to start with that first. I didn't even want to start with that first. Okay.
But no, initial reaction, I think it was a solid episode. I would say the last episode was a little bit more sad, like because I literally cried 3 times the last episode, literally actual tears. Um, like when Lou was giving his speech, and then obviously when she announced to the family that she actually had cancer, and there was like another scene too, I forgot, but yeah, it was a very emotional episode. This one was kind of too, to an extent, but we kind of already like people have been saying for the longest that Famous is gone and out of here. So I really was not expecting that, especially when the whole at the end of the episode when that when they was in the bodega and then he ran away. I was like, they about to discover Famous body. Like I knew that was coming. So
The setup was.
yeah, it was literally building up to that moment.
Hmm. Okay. So This week, Rock and Marvin navigate a dwindling supply of product while Lou and Imani scout artists together. Joyce's condition worsens, and Famous's mother is desperately trying to find him. Now, here is some of the things that I wanted to discuss. And the first thing, or the first theme that I wanted to go over, is just from the episode title alone. And the title of the episode is The Nail That Sticks Up. Now, what does this mean, right? And I think of it in terms of everything is normally flattened and in order and it looks neat and everything is okay. But that one nail that sticks up messes up the aesthetic, messes up the function, and essentially puts everything out of place. And say it again.
And puts everything in danger.
Exactly. And can hurt other people or hurt something, hurt someone. Like it's minor if I snag my shirt on the nail that sticks up, but it's not so minor if I step on it and it pierces my foot, right? And I think of all of the children in a sense as the nail that sticks up. Now, some of them are hidden because you can't really see it.
Not even that, but she just has this continuous pain where, every time she starts to normalize, she kind of feels that pain over and over again. I mean, we could talk about Juke a little later, but I think Juke is just numb to death at this point.
Yes, I completely agree. Next up, Marvin. Marvin is, if I had to pick the one person where I would say he's the nail that sticks up, it is definitely Marvin. And he is like the mistaken nail that people forgot about and just continues to cause, like, it's almost like it's hidden, but we know that it's not in place and we just can't find exactly where it's at. Him killing the distributor, then him backing up.
It had to happen. Let's be honest. If Rock,
And 1 second, let me get the points out and then we can talk for distributor. Him having the conversation with Rock and her admitting that Andre has died and they came to her house to speak about it. And another opportunity for him to talk about his engagement with Stefano. He just doesn't do it. But I understand why. His mother calls out to him, who is Joyce, calls out to him that Rock kind of stuns him a little bit and he needs to stand on his own too. But he also chickens out of euthanizing her. And I don't think I have an issue with that. But I do want you to go back and talk to me about what you were first saying about Marvin.
I don't even remember, but so Marvin has continuously had to be the strong one in the family. So I think it's the reason why Joyce asked him over asking Raquel. No, Raquel 9 times out of 10 is definitely not going to be able to do that. But Lou has and Lou wouldn't entertain that shit at all. Hands down.
He flat out says it. He says she's gonna drive me to drink again. So
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, he would rather drink than to do that to his mother. I'm sorry, but at this point, it's like, I think that she thought that Marvin was the only one strong enough to do that. Kanan literally would have looked at her like she was crazy. There's no way Kanan could do that. So she thought Marvin was the only one that she can get to actually do that. And then she just tried to make him feel bad about it because I don't know why everybody just feel like they want to press Marvin's buttons this season. Mm-hmm. I just think that that's kind of crazy. And he's been reacting to everything that they're saying. They saying something smart, he kills them. You going to the police, you was gonna get killed, bro. I'm sorry, like that was dumb to say. Oh yeah, I'm gonna tell the police everything, and yeah, you're going to jail, and think that you're gonna live.
I was so surprised that he was talking up like that. I was like, does he know who he talking to? I almost thought he didn't know Marvin. Did he not meet Marvin before?
He didn't care.
He said, I'm not scared of you or your sister. I was like, well, if who are you scared of?
But are you scared of this gun?
And Marvin was like, hey, you gotta chill. And he's like one of those cool people who's like, you gotta chill. I don't know. Stop talking to me like that. he's not getting hype, nothing. It's just like you gotta relax, sir. But I do want to go back to what you talked about with Marvin and Joyce. I think I disagree with you because of something that Sasha said when he was on the show. So when Sasha was on the show, he said that one of the reasons that Rock got upset with her mother, and she had a different reaction than everybody else at the dinner table to finding out that her mother has this terminal illness or that the cancer has spread throughout her body, is because she feels manipulated by her mother. And I was like, oh, she's disingenuous. So when I saw what she was doing to Marvin, I was like, this is just more manipulation, which is why she says things like, Marvin's sorry. And then like she changes the inflection of her voice. Marvin's sorry. Marvin's sorry. Marvin, sorry. Like saying, oh, you're not sorry, but you are a sorry ass person. And that's what I got from her. Like she tries to say to him, oh, Rock is doing these things to you, but I know that you're the strong one. I know. But all of that is just her playing into what she knows he feels insecure about so that she can get him to feel confident in doing what she wants him to do. I do agree with you that she would never go to Rock with this because she know Rock is just going to be like, F out of here. I'm not doing that. What's wrong with you? And then she knows Lou isn't going to do it because Lou is going to go down a spiral. She knows her children and she knows who she can play with. And she plays with Marvin.
But that's what I'm saying. It's more of along the lines of Marvin has always had to be the one to step up.
Mm-hmm.
So like she feels like he's the only one that's going to be able to do that. And then in the long run, no one wants that on their conscience. There's no way he then goes back to Rock or he then goes back to anybody in the family and tell them what he did and is able to live with that.
He's never going to tell anybody. He's never going to tell anybody.
Right, but even if he took that to the grave, that nobody wants that on their conscience. That right there would drive him to go back to doing drugs.
Yeah. Yeah. And it reminded me of something because it's so funny how this show not funny, but I think it's very intentional how this show picks up on things that were happening at that time in the timeline because right now we should be in about 1992. At that time,
We at the top of 93 now.
are we at the top of 93?
Yeah, because they mentioned
Oh yeah, that's right. Because 3 months has been
years and that Kanan hadn't been to school all year yet.
right. So
Since the new year came since started. It has to be the 93 at the top.
so around that time, speaking of euthanasia, do we remember who the biggest euthanasia or euthanist was? It was Dr. Kevorkian. At around that time, he had a huge trial going on where cancer patients or people who were diagnosed with terminal illness will come to him and ask him to euthanize them. And he went on trial for it. And it's crazy that she asked Marvin to do it because most people do ask their family members to let them go, but the courts will definitely lock your ass up for this. You cannot euthanize anyone. You can't do it, even if they ask you to do it. So I think that it was manipulative of her to ask him, and I think that's a horrible thing to ask your child. Um, I wonder, do you feel like on a personal level, do you feel like if you had a family member who was that sick and they asked you, please just tell them to let me go, how would you feel about that? How would you deal with that?
Let me go and do it is two different things. Yeah. Like she was. It's not like they was in the hospital and they was arguing over whether they was going to keep her alive or not. That's a different story. Because at that point, she can't defend herself and say, let me go. So in this situation, she literally looked at him in his face and saying, let me go. But who knows the amount of pain that Joyce is in? I can only imagine.
Yeah, because let me see, because I think it was I'm trying to find it right now. It was a 54-year-old woman diagnosed in 1989 with Alzheimer's. He euthanized her, I believe, in 1990. They dropped the murder charges in 1990. because at that time, there was no laws in Michigan regarding assisted suicide. Now, it's crazy. I mean, I can go on about this, but so let's see. His California medical license was suspended in April of 1993. So yeah, we are on track because that was what was happening between 1990 and 1993 with Dr. Kevorkian. And I like how they tell you about historical references without actually putting it in your face. Like those things were happening at that time. Now, let's move on from Mama Joyce. I'm pretty sure we'll come back to her at some point in this, but let's go to let me just pull back up my notes because there's some bullet points that I wanted to go after. I did want to talk about Rock and how she's dealing with all of the blows to her organization and how she's dealing with it. So,
Yeah, Kanan taking money off the top.
uh, damn it off the top. It's like, I guess it ain't really stealing if it's from your mother.
But he's been stealing from his mother since season 1, so you know how much money he's taking from Rock? That's crazy.
Crazy. Crazy. But wait, do you think that Rock knows that he's skimming?
I think Rock then knew that he's been stealing because Marvin told Rock that
No,
stealing.
that he's skimming now. She knew about the stealing from
Mm.
before.
Well, I can tell you, Snap and Pop definitely know he's skimming. They like him, so they're just like, all right, whatever. But like, come on, bro. Like anybody else, they would have probably been killed on the spot.
Yeah. Okay. Right, back to Rock. I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought for a second, but back to Rock. So her and Fong are on the outs. She definitely doesn't pay him back with the 20% increase that he told her that was the new price. She pretty much just gave him the middle finger and told him, look, you're gonna get what I give you. I never agreed to that price hike, so deal with it or not. Then she goes back to I can never get this guy's name right. Ifaz? Ifaz?
Well, I know you're talking about that.
You know what I'm talking about. Okay, so remember last episode when they put her in the car, she drives to him because she's trying to find a new connect because she knows that she's going to be on the outs with Ron.
He's
So
like the main distributor.
so she goes to him now and she is trying to coordinate. Well, he tells her, I told you I was going to reach out to you and you came and popped up on me anyway. She's like, listen, that's just not how I do business. She is on a timer right now because she knows the whole thing with Kwame is blowing up. They're pretty much picking them off one by one. And this is even before Marvin kills the distributor. So and she's already in a meeting trying to get this to come together. But he's like, I need to get on the phone with the other people who work with you. And she's like, listen, I can set this up. I don't know how well that's going to work out for her because things are happening behind her back that she has no idea for. She can't even brace for it because every time she turns around, something else happens. I wonder what's going to happen when she finds out that Marvin killed, uh, God, what is his name? I didn't even put his name in my notes. But I'll fix it in the show notes or I'll correct myself next episode, guys. But the Juan's cousin.
Yeah.
And
Um,
he kills him.
you said how she gonna react?
Yeah.
The same way she reacted when. Well, no, never mind, because she didn't know about that job because Marvin lied to her right to her face. The Stefano job when he killed the dude when he wasn't supposed to. It's like,
Right.
I mean, but at the same time, what could she really say? Because again, Rob does the same thing if he's in her face talking about, oh, I'm gonna go to the police and tell. Rock has to kill him on the spot. No,
Yes. I mean, I think cooler heads could have prevailed here.
this the thing, right? I think he wanted more security. He wanted like he wanted those words encourage me that what you're saying is true. You're going to make sure that my people are safe and that this operation is gonna go smooth. And they can't keep that word because it will keep dropping.
Everything he was saying to Marvin was spot on. He was like, y'all was sloppy. People are dying. You don't have control over this. You don't even know who's picking you off or who's stealing. I don't want to work with y'all no more. everything he's saying is valid. I just think that he was the wrong person to give this message to Marvin. I just think he went about it in the wrong way because even though we know that age-old saying you catch more bees with honey than you would with vinegar, like there was a way to have this conversation that could have impressed upon Marvin that, hey, our deal here is not very beneficial for me. We have people dying. They're shooting up my warehouse. We don't know where the next hit is coming from. And you're not really making money hand over fist the way how y'all should be. And y'all getting extorted for an additional 20% that y'all can't even pay.
That's crazy. You niggas stealing 50% and then Juan taking another 20. That's wild.
Insane. Like the numbers here, the math is not mathing at all. And do they need that gut check that Kanan got last week from Stefano, or that Unique got this week from
The new boss here.
the new boss? No. The one that Teresa Baselli sent. What is his name? Yo, I hate that this happens.
It's main characters.
It's a lot of new characters. And then the thing is, when I'm watching the show, because I want to record, I'm like typing notes really, really quick. And then I didn't put his name, but I'll search for it the next time that you start talking, and I'll just look away for a second to search for his name. But this is a needed conversation. The only problem is once the conversation started heating up, I was like, oh, this is his last time on screen. We're never gonna see this person again. Before Marvin even shot him, when he was like, I'm not scared of you and your sister, I was like, oh, there it goes.
He said, I'm gonna go to the police. I said, he said the P word. He's bugging.
Bugging, wilding, out of here. But let's see. Let's move on. Let's talk about something nice, right? So I wanna move on to Lou. Lou has found maybe love again, maybe. So he has found, or
Spells it.
Lou has found interest in his newest partner, who is Imani, and she has taken him to look at her record collection, and a lot of people, and she hasn't had anybody look at her record collection in a long time, is what she said. I was like, oh, that's a nice way to put it.
Real quick, Phil Russo is his name.
Oh, that's his name in the show?
Phil Russo, yep.
Phil. Okay. All right. Let me put that in so I have that for next week. Phil. So Phil tells Unique off, but we'll get back to Unique in a second. Let's finish up with Lou. So Lou,
And Hafiz is the dude that
Hafiz. So I did get his name right. Okay, good. All right. I thought I was messing up out here, but yeah. So Lou is now with Imani. Hopefully that helps him get over Jessica. And
I don't know. And he said he looked at her when she said that. He gave her a look like, like, I don't know if he was stunned or if he actually thought about Jessica.
it looked like he was stunned and even a little offended. Like, why are you doing research on me? Well, why do you think she's doing research on you? You just disappeared for a whole 6-7 months. And then you pop back up and now you got a job where she work at. She want to know who you are.
And she like you.
And she think you're cute. So, yeah, she's going to do a little research. Just a little bit. I would. Shoot. Wait till she find out that your sister is a cold killer, and your brother, and your daughter, and your niece, allegedly, and your nephew, allegedly. Wait till she find out what you did to Crown Camacho, allegedly.
Right, because that's to this day it was never proven. But yeah,
All right. So, anything to add about Lou?
I think Lou is doing his thing. They're building his character up very well. Some would say too well because this is screaming die at the end of the season development.
Let me tell you what I think about Lou there. I'm glad you said that. I had to turn myself in my chair for that one. I'm glad you said that about Lou because I do think that they are developing Lou. And one of the things that I mentioned to the creator and the writer of the show, Sasha Penn, excuse me, was that I see what you're doing with Marvin. Like, you're making Marvin mess up a lot. And he was just like, no, Marvin can do whatever he wants. You know how Sasha told Marvin can do whatever he wants, right? And I was like, but no, there's consequences to actions. Whether we like it or not, there's still going to be consequences. And we used to think Ghost can do whatever he wants, but he still had to like sit down for a second. And I wonder if this this building up of Lou is what will make Marvin have to sit down and Lou have to stand up. Because if Marvin keeps going on the trajectory that he is currently on, whereas he is killing people, doing outside business, not being able to stand up to Rock or even tell her the truth as a form of standing up to her, right? The killing that he did of Jukebox's girlfriend's husband, which they say was like a robbery. It seemed very sloppy to me. Who knows if that's going to come back at any point later in the season or even next season, right? I feel like what I just said, that they are building Lou up in order for him to take his place as Rock's side, as her right hand, and Marvin is going to have to sit down.
To an extent, I mean, to be honest with you, I prefer Lou to keep doing what he's doing. Like, I think that storyline is good. That storyline is fine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's not necessarily a happy ending because he could always turn into a bad boy. I'm not going to say his name. Day type of person. Where he's robbing these artists blind for their money and doing the same thing that the WM is doing.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So he could easily turn into that because again, that's a whole nother level of power.
Mm-hmm.
You know? I think that's a way that they can kind of hone in on the industry because again, like it don't matter if you're selling drugs, it don't matter if you're in the music industry, it don't matter if you're in Hollywood, it don't matter if you're in politics. It's so many different ways to have power.
Yes. But you know who has the most power here? The one that says she owns him. And when she comes calling, because Marvin has messed up too many times, he's going to have to drop all of this stuff that he's doing, all of his little side quests with Imani and Lo and B-Rilla and our newest additions of DNA, Dusty Locane. He's going to have to stop. Okay? Because when she comes back and says, I own you, right? He's going to have to come back to the family because mommy is dying, Kanan is stealing, and Marvin is fucking up. No, you laughing. They are setting it up. I told you. The nail is sticking up. He got to come in and flatten the nail. You laughing. They setting it up for you. They putting it right in your face.
Or they set him up to die.
They have been foreshadowing Lou was going to die for 4 seasons now. They even put a rope around his neck.
And they've been foreshadowing Marvin going to jail for 4 seasons.
True. That is true.
But yet he's still not in jail, and yet Lou is still not dead.
Listen, they shot one more season. They got season 5 in the bag already. They already shot that. It's done, finished, complete. So I mean, I saw who was filming.
Yeah, Marvin was in there.
Excuse me?
Marvin was in there.
Yes, Marvin was in there.
You're right. That's what I'm saying. So it's like clearly all we could talk about. Oh, how Marvin, he's not gonna die. He's definitely guaranteed. We didn't see Lou, but we definitely saw Marvin. We know Rock is here to the end, to the last episode for sure. Last 30 seconds, probably.
Let me shut my mouth. Let me shut my mouth. Okay, so let's talk about really quickly. So I mentioned it already. The DNA got to do another cameo appearance. Shout out to DNA.
How did DNA get that money?
Yes, friend to the show. And DNA also does write a lot of the rhymes that we hear. Or
You're over B-Rilla.
People for B-Rilla. I asked, was B-Rilla brought in to replace what Famous was supposed to be doing?
Right, so think and the only reason I say that is because it seems like they're really trying to build a label. So they're going out and looking at all of the talent, just like how, PD, did. He went out and he went and sought out all of the talent in the city. And, it's just Imani is just the next level with the PR. So she's just able to find people.
Okay. And one more thing before I asked you about I'm gonna, and normally I do 3 things that you like about the episodes and 3 things that you didn't like, but there is one more bullet point that I wanted to go over, and then you can tell me about your likes and your dislikes, and I'll tell you mine, and then we'll go to the last part, the biggest thing that happened in the episode. Um, so we saw the background of Famous's life, whereas his mother was a domestic violence survivor, and they left out in the middle of the night after a really bad incident with the father, and they ended up in a homeless shelter or a women's abuse shelter. And Jessica made an appearance, and we saw that Sean got the brutal beating from the dad, and they made it out by the skin of their teeth. Um, the other point that I did want to mention was that we saw, is his name OG or the little person? Who-
Yeah, the one from the convenience store.
No, not the one who ran. That part
Oh,
we'll talk about later.
yeah, okay.
The one that's working with Kanan,
Oh,
and he's
because he's a snake, bro. You work with unique.
he's working with Unique. So that was the last bullet point that I wanted to bring up. But let me ask you this, and then we'll talk about Famous, because I do want to talk about Famous because I've been holding my tongue about this Famous stuff for a very long time. And like you, I actually not like you. I try not to watch too much power content before I record. After I record, I'll go and I'll look to see what everybody else is saying.
Yeah.
Um, but I did see some stuff from Mr. Power Universe that I do want to talk about, and we'll get into that after I ask you this. So, tell me 2 things that you liked about this episode, and then 2 things that you didn't really like.
I love the fact that Jessica came back to the team. Oh, I love Jessica. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, she's
Um,
beautiful.
yes, so good to see her. And then I like the whole way that I like the way that they took out Famous for real, because it's like it's going to be a buildup of who did it later. That's a perfect setup for a later episode. I love that for halfway through the season.
Mm, okay. And then 2 things that you didn't like.
I didn't like that Crystal was not in the episode. Um,
I have thoughts. Keep going.
because I love Crystal as well.
I bet you do.
Whew. But anyway, uh, that's number one. And then number two, and it's not that much. I would say the episode was very well paced. I just wish Unique would stop playing with Pernessa and just show up and say, "Hey, I want to see my son at least." That's like really bothering me. It's like, because Pernessa's not gonna go out here and tell the streets you alive. You know what I mean? Of all people. But you can go out here and show your face to Juan. You can go out here and show your face to the whole Italian mob.
Yeah, I just.
But yeah,
All right.
yeah, but that's about it. You?
Okay. Okay. So for me, 2 things that I liked. I think I may have mentioned this earlier. I liked that Phil checked Unique and said, "Hey, I didn't hear that the Black Bar was trying to kill you. Like, somebody has to tell him, right? Like, someone has to like get it through to him. Like, bro, we never heard anything like that." I was waiting for somebody to tell him, like, what the hell would even make you think that she wants to? They think you're dead. What do you think they were gonna do? Save your job for you? You think they were gonna have a whole memorial and say, "Oh well, we can't hire a new drug dealer because this drug dealer got killed by his brother"? Chill out. They're gonna replace you the same way how it works at any other job. They'll say, "Oh, she passed away," and then the next hour on their website, they're gonna have an open position.
Facts.
What did you think was gonna happen? If they don't feel sorry for you, then you thought they was gonna feel sorry for you in the streets? It's not nobody swooping in trying to take over your business. She told you she didn't want to be in the game. Now I get it. In your head, you may feel like she's lying because this is what you saw her do, right? She did it to hide
You
both.
was not wrong. For feeling like that.
I don't care. You got
Early,
like
or the way Early Tyler explained it, it made sense.
also told him. He also said, "Are you sure it's her?" He was like, "Look, let's not jump to conclusions," because he did say that too. He did put the seed in his head that maybe it was Rob. She was trying to take over your business, but then he also came back and said, maybe it wasn't her. But again,
That man has his own narrative because, again, all he knows, he don't know that Kanan was actually the one that killed him. So he's thinking that, okay, I'm out of here. And now that I'm out of here,
okay, and it
maybe
wasn't.
they made a deal with Ronnie. And then after they made a deal with Ronnie, now Ronnie's dead. That makes sense, especially when you had head trauma.
Okay. So I like that. So I like that Phil checked him, right? He did that. And I like that Phil made him like kind of just like, hey, get out of here. You don't even got no plan. You just in here. You just want to avenge your business and you don't have no plan. You don't got no backup. You just out here just doing shit. Come back to me.
No team, none, nobody. He has no soldiers, nothing.
Yeah, but he about to get a team. He about to get a team.
Well, oh, I saw it. Like 30 deep. He about to go crazy.
He about to go ham. But the another thing that I liked the flashback scenes that gave us some context to Famous and his family. I really like those. However, I was sad to see when we released the pictures from this week's episode. I was sad to see them because I was just like, damn, that's the nail in the coffin. Whenever you do flashback scenes, I already know like they about to let you know that he's out of here. Man, I was like, damn, they need.
Because when they had flashbacks the whole season, she died at the end.
No. When I saw that there were flashbacks, I knew she was gonna die. That's what I'm saying. Once I know that, once I see the flashback, yeah. Like once I see the flashback, I'm like, oh, they gotta tell a story. They gotta humanize you. They gotta tell like what's really going on with you. So I was like, oh, he's out of here. But I appreciated them. I also liked as a grounding effect that they put like domestic violence prevention and help hotlines before the episode and after the episode. I love when they do stuff like that because they're not just taking their work lightly, they are trying to help. And it's not just a story being told, but it's a story with a purpose.
And that's the writing.
It is. And I think it's responsible writing as well. The same thing that they did prior to Lou's attempted suicide. They did the same thing there too. And even when they use language that I don't really like, for instance, when they had the Italians in season 2 and they referred to Black people as animal and using the N-word, they did put disclaimers prior to the episode about the use of the crude language, and that I appreciated because I hated that they had to say those things. But it is a part of their language or how they spoke.
It don't bother me because that's probably how they were at that time.
That's what I just said. So, but two things that I didn't really like about the episode. I hated that Famous was under that fucking mattress. I hated it. Hated it. Hated it. And then I also hated. I'm gonna let you finish.
Confirmed. Oh yeah.
Yeah. The other thing that I hated that you're about to probably talk about right now, I hated that they made that little boy run and find him. And then the vomit, I was like,
it was a little too obvious. It was a little too obvious, yeah.
Too obvious. But go ahead, let me let you go.
No, I was gonna say that I think the good part about Famous being found under the mattress made it so that we knew for a fact there was no way it was suicide. So he's not gonna kill himself and then go under a damn mattress.
Okay, right. Yeah. Let's talk about Famous. So
did a record show up? No, let me stop.
Maybe I did. The whole thing with Famous, I was kind of annoyed by because I hated how the cop was talking to his mother. I was like, damn, he has no empathy, no nothing. He was just really rough with her. He was just
no empathy for her. She's the reason why this whole thing situation happened.
Here we go. All right. No, I knew you was about to start with that.
Mother.
Here we go. Wait. Before we start with
mother.
But before we start with who we gonna blame, right? Before we start with that, because I was gonna ask you, who do you blame for Famous's death?
Sorry.
I blame the person that killed him. But we also, but hold on, wait. Let me finish my thought on the cop, and then I'm gonna let you go off about the mother. I think the cop is a bit crass because I blame the cop for like kind of doubling down on Famous and bringing him in for questioning and not having him have a lawyer present and them badgering
Tanner or
him.
Garcia?
I'm sorry.
Tanner or Garcia? Because Tanner is who brought him in initially, right? Or was it always Garcia?
I think it was both of them.
Oh, right. It was the other. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Why did Tanner?
I don't know.
Oh.
Has he been there all season? I didn't see him at all. Yeah, I didn't see him. But yeah, once Omar Epps is once Howard was gone, I didn't see Tanner anymore. Speaking of which, maybe Tanner isn't here because I haven't seen him all season, but maybe he'll come back later. Because Tanner was a part of the FBI, right? And he was just, yeah, we'll tackle that another day. But for right now, Garcia, I blame him for all of this stuff that's happening with Famous because he's the one that dragged him into all of this. And the mother is just scared, and they tried to show you that she's just a civilian. She's just a law-abiding citizen that is doing what she thinks is best. She doesn't know the street code. She doesn't know you're not supposed to call the cops. She doesn't know you can't tell the cops certain things. Sam is looking at me like I'm crazy right now for those of you who are not watching the video of this. But she just doesn't know.
That? She live in the hood. What you think she don't know that you was
And how many civilians do we know in the hood that call the cops? Even just for noise complaints.
If you find a gun in your son's room as a civilian, you're not gonna go call the police and say, "Hey, I found a gun in my son's bag." You're gonna go dispose of that gun.
But then that would make her a criminal, that she's not a civilian.
And now she has a dead son.
All right, so let me hear. So you think, so tell me why you think his mother is responsible for his death.
She forced him to snitch.
How did she force him to snitch, Sam?
Let me ask you a question.
No.
Right? Typical mothers, right? If they find a gun inside of their son's room, what are they gonna tell him to do?
Get rid of it. Get that out
Get
of my
that
house.
gun out of my house.
Mhm.
So she could have told Famous that. Famous would have took the gun and got rid of it. And we wouldn't be in this situation right now. They're never going to. This is the first time I've ever heard of a mother calling the police and then bringing their son to the station. And then obviously it was a crime that happened with the gun. It's a illegal gun. Of course, a crime happened with it.
That's kind of speculative. We don't know. She doesn't know. So here's what I agree with you on. I wouldn't call the cops on my son because I found a gun in his room, right? Like I wouldn't call the cops. But can I understand why she called the cops? No, I can't. I'm trying to.
I don't get it, bro. Like that again. It's an illegal gun that he got off the streets.
He doesn't know if it's illegal.
No, that something happened with that gun.
Yeah, I just think she had a brain fart because I can't rationalize why she called the cops because I was pissed off when she called the cops. I was like, damn, she just wrote on his death certificate at this point. I don't know why she did that. I am curious to see how they backtrack all of this to see what happens with who killed Famous. I am curious about your thoughts about who you think killed Famous.
Okay, so I know Mr. Power Universe is gonna get on my ass, so I'm gonna just say the typical answers that everyone is gonna say. And say, oh, it probably was Marvin. Or it could have
Can you see the steam coming out of my ears? Sorry, say that again.
Or it could have been one of Freddie's family members. That's what Mr. Power Universe wants me to say, so I'm gonna say that. Because we know it wasn't Rock, and we know it wasn't Lou. Right? But
why do you think it's
PowerIsFire? Me being PowerIsFire, this is who I want it to have been. I would love for it to be another situation like Effie and Tariq. How Effie took out Lauren because she wanted to protect Tariq, because she thought that Lauren was going to basically snitch on Tariq and that he was going to get locked up.
And you think that's the reason why Marvin did it?
No.
Oh.
This is why I would say in that situation that this type of situation would basically be either Crystal or Jukebox being the one to do it. Now, again, this is super far-fetched. And that's fine. But I only say that because if you want to get a jaw dropping reaction from the audience, it would make sense as to why Jukebox was so comfortable with committing that murder. She didn't kill anybody over, and she only did basic training and came back home. So you know what I mean? And Marvin even said, like, damn, like, you know, the military got you. Basically, you don't care about death. And she's like, no, it's not the military. So that statement was not said because for no reason. So either
Answer for
Jukebox has
that.
killed someone before and she's comfortable now, or, you know, or maybe they did just say it for no reason.
Remember what older Kanan said. Killers are born, not me.
Well,
So,
I mean, Jukebox is, I mean, she need one more. She need one more to be considered. In my book, she needs one more to be considered a killer, which I think we're going to get before the end of the season.
so in summation, you are saying that you think that Jukebox killed.
No.
So who do you
I
think
think
killed
that was
Sean?
because that's I don't think that I'm not being a troll. That's just my wish is that it was Jukebox that did it for Kanan. I wish that's how it was. That's how it went. That's how it played out. Because that would be a jaw dropping thing that everybody would have been like, wow, I would not expect that from Jukebox. You would expect that from Marvin because he's already brought up in the car with Lou that, you know, basically Famous is out here snitching. So it wouldn't be far-fetched if he then got killed. If he then went and killed Famous. That's not far-fetched. But there's no reason to not show that till later on if it was Marvin.
First, I want to say thank you, right? I thank you for going through all of that with me because, I forgot about that scene with Marvin and Lou when they were talking about Famous. And he briefly says, I heard he was snitching. I do not agree that Marvin killed Famous. I think Marvin has too much stuff going on for him to even have time to worry about Famous and where Famous is and was he even looking for him. Tati, our dear friend, she actually brought up something to me earlier this morning about Marvin, and she says, how can Marvin have done it if Marvin initially lets a crackhead live, but then he's just gonna kill Famous off the rip, and he doesn't even really know that he snitched or not. But to be fair, Marvin did come back and kill Sam because he did find out that he was snitching. But Marvin doesn't have solid proof that Famous was. So this
Yes.
theory of Marvin killing Famous, I'm not riding with it. I am actually going to go a different way with this. And I do think that there is some soil in the plant, or we put some compost in there about the similar situation between Tariq, Effie, and Lauren. I think that Pops and Snap are the ones who killed Famous. I think that
That's a wild one.
so I think that we have seen everybody else thus far. We've seen everybody. We haven't really seen Snaps and Pops. We saw them twice this season. We know what Marvin and Rock are up to. We know what Lou is up to. We even know what Unique is up to. We know what everyone else is doing. Snaps and Pops, we have never even seen their legs. They're always sitting behind a table. We don't know what they're doing, but we know that they have their ears to the street. And we know that they may be heard that Famous was snitching. And you yourself told me that they have a likeness for Kanan. And they know he's stealing. And they haven't ratted him out. They do check him when he needs to be checked. But no one checked him the way how Stefano checked him, and he needed that shit. But I do think that they try to protect him as well. And they are teaching him lessons. And the biggest lesson that he will ever learn is the people that he should have in his corner. And if there's anyone that is going to betray him, they're going to take them out. And I think that they are the ones who killed Famous.
Right, but would there be a need for because technically speaking, if that was the case, I mean, obviously you want to build up episode 5 because it was centered around Famous. I get it. But I mean, Snap and Pop, they would have to make Snap and Pop very interesting. Maybe they show some throwback scenes of them getting busy.
Yeah, when because we had Erica on the show who plays Pops, and she says, I would love the idea of us doing uh like an origins of sorts of Snaps and Pop, to show how they amassed all of this power, all of this knowledge, all of these people that they have working under them, and how they are able to be in retirement or semi-retirement and still be able to run the game that they do. And that's what made, like, when I think back on her conversation, especially the points that she made about her going toe to toe with Rock and who will come out on the end, I'm like, these people are more sinister than they're letting on. And that's what made me come to the decision of, or come to the realization that they are doing way more behind the scenes than we know. And because we don't see them doesn't mean they aren't stirring the pot.
Right, but what would be the purpose of building so much on your main characters, and then I just feel like they've definitely failed. Raising Kanan has failed at developing the side characters,
Mhm.
and it's
Why do
been
you
a
say that?
constant thing. It's been a constant thing. Juliana was a waste, but they literally drew the storyline up to make it. They could have made something out of that, but instead they put her story to the back burner. I was like, what was the point of that?
Oh, I've heard things like this, right? Like with a lot of the side characters, like killing Scrap too soon, killing Sam too soon, because Sam could have caused a lot of trouble and it could have been a lot of comedy relief. Even Famous, right? Famous is, I mean,
I'm like, yeah, Famous went downhill after season two. Season two, after he killed Freddy, they could have went nuts with his character,
yeah.
and
And then
instead they made him weak.
let me bring up something that Mr. Power Universe, something that I alluded to earlier about Mr. Power Universe, something that he said about Famous. He says, there has to be something going on with this character or with the actor for them to have done it this way. Us not seeing the body, us not um getting he, he was on the first episode of the podcast, and I pointed out to him, I was like, that's not Famous. I said, that's not the actor that played him. I said, that was a green screen, and the person that played him in the scenes that we saw, we only saw the back of the person's head. And I said they used earlier episodes for the actor. And I was like, why are they doing that? And even in this episode, the flashback scene that we see between the mother and Famous, what's the mom's name? That was old.
Yeah,
That was from last season, or the season last season before he got arrested, right? No, the season when he got kicked out. Excuse
yeah.
me.
Mother's name is Olga.
Okay.
Olga.
Olga. So yeah, I just something's going on here, and he I'm sorry that it had to be this way, but they packed Shorty up. And I knew something was up from last season when I didn't see him film, not last season, when they were filming season 4. Because I think while they were filming season 4, season 3 was still running. And I check everyone's Instagram, like all of us do, right? To see what's going on, to see what kind of inside information I can get. And he was not filming. I think he even had a baby. Um, then when we kept posting things this season about where's famous, I saw you post that he was on a cruise. And I was like, oh, well, I guess he's fine. But
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, that on his page. So I was just like, okay, whatever. But I don't know, but damn.
alrighty. Final thoughts on this
Well,
episode?
one thing I could definitely rule out, I doubt the mother would have done it. A lot of people were saying that it could have been his stepfather that came back and did it. But I'm like, if it would have been a stepfather, they would have shown it. There's no reason to to let that kind of burn out. And then some people were saying it was Unique. It was physically impossible for Unique to have done it. He was literally coming off the head injury. So unless Famous has only been dead for 2 weeks, then whatever. But he's been dead probably 3 months, sitting there, laying there. So um, I don't think it was Howard, because I mean the timeline does line up, but I don't know. I don't think so. Um, because Howard could have did it, knowing that Famous is snitching. Obviously, worked there at the precinct. He would know that Famous is snitching. But again, is that worth a flashback again? Because then you got to bring Omar Epps in again, and then have him do another scene and pay him again.
It wasn't Howard. I'm gonna just leave it like that. It wasn't Howard.
I'm just saying, like, but it would all depend on how long Famous has been laying there. But I know it was not Unique, because Unique literally was injured. He was rolling down the hill. He didn't stop rolling down the hill until like 2 episodes. Until the episode stopped rolling down the hill.
Oh my gosh. Okay. And on that note, guys, it has been a pleasure talking to you. I know that we're going to be talking about this Famous stuff for a little while. I do want to do a recap of episodes 1 through 5. I do want to thank you for your time today, for coming and chilling with me. Remember, everyone, this has been Chronicles of Power. Please follow Sam at PowerIsFire on IG and wherever you can. Thank you. Have a good week.